Hey, everybody. Welcome to the fifth episode of the Fifth Quarter Collective. We're back for another week here and appreciate you all tuning in. Please give us a follow, like, and subscribe. How we all doing this week, guys?
Fantastic. Doing good on my end. Luke?
Yeah, doing good. We got a lot of these pen stains that my dog put in my couch out, so couldn't be happier.
Hell yeah, we made it 5
How
weeks.
about you guys?
Little over a month. That's pretty exciting stuff.
It's longer than most relationships, I think. I think we're longer than Chris Humphries and Kim Kardashian. I don't know. we endured the test of time. But I don't know about you guys. I had a very eventful day today. Have not played any organized basketball since COVID. Got a text last night. Hey, we have a league. Can you make it? I have felt like it's been Christmas Eve for the past 24 hours. I've been giddy. I've been eager to get back out there. And I think it's something we need to lean more into, because I just like seeing people with hobbies, whether it's, you're out, you're golfing, you're doing any pickup leagues. I think that's so fun. And I think it's pretty easy for all of us to make excuses to not go do that. But I was pumped to get out there tonight. And the first few warm-up shots, I'm not gonna lie, I'm like, oh boy, this could be a long night. This could be a very long night. I was looking across at the opponents, and to describe the other team, they had about a 6'7" guard slash forward who was hitting threes and could do everything. So that wasn't great to see. Then we had a 6 foot tall Anthony Edwards basically getting to the rim at will. And overall, we ended up playing quite well. Where our team name's the Big Boys Only. And although I missed the first 2 threes of the game, to brag a little bit, if you know me, I'm humble, but this is what men's leagues are for. My stat line ended up being 5 of 7 from 3 with a pull-up jumper, mid-range jumper. So we ended up winning 53-52 last second shot. We came back. We were down 8 with like 7 minutes to go. I know no one is tuning into this podcast to get men's league pickup updates, but it's awesome. And I strongly encourage anybody, if you haven't gotten out there or you haven't played, tennis or a sport you used to play, make time for that. And make sure you take care of yourself, because I got home and after the adrenaline, wore off. I mean, I thought we were the Boston Celtics winning by 1 with a game winner, but my knees sore, my toes started cramping, and I need to chug like 2 things of Pedialyte to get back on track. So overall, awesome night. And what can I say? Once a shooter, always a shooter,
Men's league will do that to you. I played in a men's soccer league. This was about 2 years ago. And let me tell you, I was gassed afterwards. You take 4 years off of college from like legit competitive soccer, you come back and play indoor, you're gassed.
And to that point, when I looked up at the clock, it was 2 20-minute halves. And we only had 7 guys, so very short bench. We had the problem where everybody was fighting to see who could get subbed out of the game to catch their breath. So very much the opposite of what a lot of those pickup teams experience, but so much fun. Yeah. Next time we're all together, we'll have to do a 2-on-2 pickup game and get that going.
That would be fun.
Amazing.
Was the name of your team, was that created after the fact when you guys were just out of breath and just so you're realizing how out of shape you guys are? Or?
It was actually before, and it was quite fitting. I describe all of us. We don't have a true point guard. We have some people that can handle the ball okay, but if I were to describe us, we're kind of like Army Navy football, right? Where we're kind of in betweeners for positions. It takes me back to that SMU team where they're like all wings. They're just playing 5 out. Coleman, you remember all those guys? Shake Milton. I mean,
Semi Ojale.
Yep.
I think it was coached by Coach Larry Brown,
Yep.
NBA basketball Hall of Famer Larry Brown.
Yeah, we had a lot of 5 out sets.
Of all time. Yeah.
Yeah, it was so fun, and it was great. We already were talking about maybe setting up a practice to go through sets, or I recommended running hills since we were all out of shape, but that I didn't get too much traction there. So don't think that's going to be happening.
You're really going to be like Army and Navy. You start running hills on the weekends.
Yeah, I was just hoping that they had the like heart zappers nearby. After like the first 6 minutes running up and down, I was doing a lot of cherry picking. When we were shooting free throws, I was just getting back in my zone spot, thank God. And I have a long way to go. I'm definitely not in basketball form. So
Did you guys play zone?
dude, we start out in man, and boy, was that a bad idea. Like they were beating us off the dribble. Once we got into the zone, it was much better. And I stopped bringing the ball up the court because I had a guy who's picking me up nearly at half court before. And I'm like, I'm too old for this. I can't be exerting this much energy before even getting across half court. So I was letting somebody else bring it up. But all in good fun. Promise we won't do another long segment on pickup basketball here. But great time. Yeah, brings me right back to my childhood. So super fun. But with that being said, guys, some other news in the basketball world outside of pickup hoops here in Texas. Mavs Celtics. It's said and done. The Celtics pulled it off. Not to brag again, but I did call Celtics in 5. What do you guys think overall of the NBA Finals?
I think first we should get Luke's thoughts, who did pick the Mavericks, the only person to pick the Mavericks in this podcast. So would love to hear his thoughts first. I have not chatted with any of you so far about the finals just yet. So I would love to get Luke's thoughts and then everyone else's.
So, originally when we made those predictions, we didn't plan that out at all, So me choosing the Mavs, great for the pod, obviously. I was just kind of hoping they would win this one so I could run victory laps around each one of you. But, I think what the downfall was is that one video you saw with Luka holding his recovery beer, his quote recovery beer, and getting taken away. I think that was the turning point. I think he needed his his PED, that is his recovery beer, to win this one. But no, for real though, they just could not match up for against the Celtics in this series. It just seemed like the Celtics were just incredibly deep. The best player on their team the whole season seemingly was Jason Tatum, but they did have Jaylen Brown that basically made it known that he also is a really good player, all NBA and all that. But yeah, I'd like to see what happens next year. Can they keep this momentum going? And we'll see. I think.
I would just like to point out, I was getting a lot of flack from everyone on here for even suggesting that could Jaylen Brown or Drew Holiday be in conversation for Finals MVP. He pulled it off. I think it's very well deserved. And I think it's his team. I don't think it's Tatum's team.
To be fair, he was there. He was there before, right? Didn't he get drafted first?
A year earlier, yeah.
Oh, little bit there. I think he's got it for sure.
I wouldn't venture to go as far to say this is Jaylen Brown's team. I think, yes, he did win Finals MVP and it was well deserved. I thought Tatum would have won it, but again, they're not giving it to the most popular player. It's like that first Warriors title when they give it to Iguodala, who had a fantastic Finals. It's not saying Brown is the better player than Tatum. I still think Tatum is the better overall player. However, Brown had a much better Finals, had a much better playoffs. It's hard pressed to tell me that this is Jaylen Brown's team after this Finals. He even said this NBA Finals MVP trophy is split between myself and Tatum. Team guy, he understands that, hey, it's both of them. It's not a one-man show. This is both of them, and it's both of our teams rather than just, hey, this is my team or this is Jason's team.
I will say, though, I think now that Jaylen Brown actually has a left hand and he can go both ways to the basket, Tatum better watch out. Tatum might be requesting a trade going into next season. I don't know how much he feels spited there. But another quick call out, too, before I get to you, Bo. Michael Finley, former Badger, I think, was the one that took the beer away from Luka after the game. So former Badger, great basketball player, but I always like to call those guys out.
I was just going to touch base and say it was really good to see Tatum and Brown. In this last game, how dominant they both looked. I believe it was they had 17 assists, and they're both the top 2 scorers on their team. Definitely after Tatum's performance after the game, basically copywriting several famous NBA quotes. I think that was somewhat embarrassing. So definitely Jaylen Brown deserved that.
He
Say
just
it
likes
again?
quotes.
He is a quotes guy. He just didn't, no citations. He would have failed those English classes. But yeah, I definitely still think it's Tatum's team. I just like how they both gave each other respect, and you can tell that they get along well. The locker room's not divided. I feel like compared to being a Bucks fan, our locker room does not feel like that. So shout out Celtics, and I'm glad they got one together.
And I think you hit it on the head, Luke, right? The Celtics, we knew they were going to be deeper. Good God, was I scared, though, when they got Porzingis out there. I mean, that was a huge shock. I don't think anybody thought he was going to play. And he was moving around horribly. I tweeted out he looked like second half Luka. He was moving around so slow. And they were hunting him, trying to get those switches going. But I get it. I mean, closeout game, might as well throw him out there, see if he can do anything. But overall, didn't have a huge impact. But yeah, the story just goes, I mean, what more can Luka do, right? 30 and 10. He can only carry the team so much. And I just think Kyrie, too, very disappointing series overall. Very quiet, looked pretty reserved. I don't know if timid's the right word there, but as Coleman's pointed out in the past too, he's got a ridiculous record at in Boston, right? Coleman, what was that stat again? Is it
since he left Boston?
Yeah, that's unbelievable.
It's probably, I think it's 0-15 now, probably.
Yeah, I think, and again, maybe he's not comfortable there with how things ended, or he's, it's something a bit more psychological since he's left. But Celtics were the better team, and hats off to them. I think one of our good friends, someone who might be related to someone else here, texted us immediately afterwards. Is it joy or relief? What do you guys think?
I think it's joy. Go ahead, Coleman.
I think it's more relief. And I love this. Is my favorite question of all time. Post title. I think it's more relief as you get to the last 5 of 6 conference finals. You make a finals in 2021. You're the favorite every year coming into the East, even with Giannis in Milwaukee. You're the favorite every single year, and you haven't done it in 6 years. So I think this title is a lot more relief of, hey, we finally got over the hump. And now, year after year, if we keep winning, it's going to be joy because we finally got that first one, and let's see what we can do from here. Because, I mean, they're set up for success in the future as well. I think this could, they're the best team in the East right now. I mean, yes, New York wasn't healthy. The Pacers weren't that healthy. Philly wasn't that healthy. But I still think, even with all those teams being healthy, I still think they're the best team coming into the East again next year as well.
I don't know. I don't know if you saw the news today, but Sixers were apparently working out Sam Decker. So I mean that might be the missing piece that Philly needs there. I wouldn't sleep on them with those kind of names being tossed around.
I think specifically for Al Horford, I think it's joy, to be honest, because how old he is. I mean, all these other guys. I mean, they're arguably one of the younger teams, at least with Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum at this point. Just with draft class. I mean, this whole team basically was built around starting in 2017, I believe, is the Jaylen Brown draft class. But Al Horford being 38 years old and finally getting an NBA championship, I think I'm happy for him. I'll say that. Good for him. Especially having to play the minutes that he had to play with Kristaps Porzingis out. So he worked for it for sure.
Definitely think it's joy. The Boston fan base is already nuts as it is. They're so passionate about sports. Now I feel like this is like the spark that ignites in the future. Like, all right, we now know we can do it. And now the expectation will be, I think it's the opposite of what Coleman was saying. Like, this is finally, they got over the hump, like you said. Everybody's probably happy. Now it'll be like, this is the standard. And they have to keep performing. And it'll be less joy and more relief the farther and farther they go as a dynasty.
And this might be a silly question with them just winning the finals, but we don't know what the next, however many years will hold for the Celtics. Obviously, they still have a very great core. But do you think we'll look back at this time leading up to this championship really being drastically underwhelmed and just really kind of disappointed with some of these years that they had before them not getting over the hump? Or do you think it's just part of their journey and finally getting over the hump there, and Boston fans really won't care about that? Because like you said, Bo, they are a pretty unique fan base and not the easiest on anybody there. So I just wonder what we'll look back at that period for the Celtics in next 10 20 years.
I think some of those series, especially with the Heat last year, and I want to say it was the Heat a few years back. It wasn't in the first round, but it was two different series with the Heat. I think those definitely weigh in on you. But I guess to win a title, you got to lose some games, and you have to know how to lose in order to know how to win. But I think this is the culmination of everything that they've done, and it's awesome for Boston. It's awesome for the Celtics. Brad Stevens' first title, and the guy who kind of was the architect of this team. So I think it's really good for them. But yeah, to answer your question, I think it is you do have to lose a little bit. I think Boston fans were a little bit fed up. I know listening to Bill Simmons and Ryan Russillo, who are Celtic fans, they're like, when do you break up Tatum and Brown? They've said it the past couple years, and I really like how Boston stuck with both of them. I don't think you see that a lot in the NBA anymore. Yeah, you have Curry and Clay who did that and Draymond in the Warriors dynasty, but outside of that, you don't really see many teams stick with your two guys and build around them for the future. No matter where you go, if you have a bad finals loss, like they did the Warriors in 2021, or you have a bad exit to the Heat last year, I still like how they trusted those two guys and continued to build around them and give them the pieces that they need to succeed in order to win that title.
Yeah. Oftentimes leashes are way too short, and it's good them kind of going against the grain there, as opposed to, hey, who are the biggest stars that are tradable or on the market, and let's just try to group another 2 or 3 of them together to see what we can do there. Jaylen Brown's running out of time, though. I think he has 1 year to win 4 titles to be on track for his very infamous interview he had a few years back. Don't know if he's going to get it done. We'll see.
Can I say something as well about Jaylen Brown? This is, yes, the Jaylen Brown hype show with him winning the finals MVP and stuff like that. Can I zag here and say he's the highest paid NBA player in history? Should this be expected of someone who has the highest contract value of all time?
Well, I think his teammate's about to get them even higher, so we'll see how long that'll last. Whose team will it be after that? I feel like that kind of answers whose team it is. It's like, okay, yeah, who's the highest paid player at the time? But I don't know.
Yeah, I that's a good point. I just think everybody's framed this as Tatum's team. It's good for Jaylen to get this. I think he's really developed these past few years. He's always had the defense, but really has been a formidable scorer these past few years. And even just looking at last night's game, I think he had, 3 steals, 3 blocks, just an incredible all-around stat-stuffing performance. It's interesting. I was listening to Russillo, actually, and they were talking about the Batman and Robin aspect of some other teams, right? But I wonder, as we continue to go along here, again, it seems like Tatum and Brown are great centerpieces for the organization. Doesn't seem like there's any friction there. And I hope that continues to be the case, because we know how difficult it can be to manage different personalities and this big money within a locker room. I think Stevens should be able to command that quite well. But you juxtapose that to Kyrie Irving and Luka. And again, I'm not stealing from this, but Russillo did mention, it's interesting seeing Kyrie with Luka now. And after saying that he didn't want to be basically second fiddle to LeBron, I wouldn't have put that together on my own, but it is quite interesting. I just wonder, from what we saw, I don't think Kyrie alone is going to be the answer. They need to go out and get some more pieces around Luka. And Luka, again, he just looks so beat up that he needs to take an ice bath for about 4 months I think, and just not do anything. But he clearly gave it his all. I just don't think relying on him and Kyrie to drop 60 points in order to win a game is that feasible at all.
A lot more recovery beers.
A lot more recovery beers.
Yeah. And did you guys check the viewership numbers at all? Or I don't know how well watched the game was, but I don't think it was comparable to quite a few of the past ones. Am I right there?
I don't know if last night was released yet, but I did see, I think Game 4 was the second lowest rated finals game outside of Lakers Heat in the bubble.
Wow. Yeah, did you guys care about this finals? Like point blank? I mean, I know we're watching it for the podcast, and I mean, we are NBA fans and everything, but just compared to other years, like how did you feel?
Grizzly fan first, NBA fan second. So this year, kind of a wash for the old Grizzlies. So I didn't care about it as much, but I think I cared about it, game 1. But then you see the outcomes of these games, game 2, game 3, all that. And it's just the margins are so large. It's like, dang, do we know the outcome already? It's like, I don't know if yes, we're watching the Celtics, and it's one of the greatest organizations in the league. But I don't know if that's enough to make more people watch it if they know that, it's just going to be a sleeper the whole time.
Yeah, I figured you would have tuned in, Luke, to watch Xavier Tillman, but I guess not.
Dude, X, yeah, he gets a ring, baby. Always got to look for I'm always for former Grizzlies getting rings. I'm just hoping the Grizzlies eventually will get rings, themselves. So maybe next year. Look out, Celtics. Look out. And the Western Conference as a whole, I guess.
I do real quick tweet of the week, probably. I saw someone post a picture of Xavier Tillman, and they said, this guy's 25 years old. I thought he was a 35-year-old vet ring chasing. And I thought that was quite accurate. I thought that was fair.
No, it's funny because like in COVID, when I think it was like his first season, like me and my brother were watching, and it says his last name. It says Xavier Tillman Senior, and I'm like, yo, how old is this guy? How old can he be a senior already? It's like, dude. But yeah, he looked so much worse when he was in the Grizzlies because he had mad male pattern baldness. Now I think he's just completely shaved his head, and he looks good. But yeah, happy for old X.
Bo Coleman, how'd you feel about the finals overall?
I think you hit it on the head last podcast, how you said Dallas is probably going to win one at home and then Celtics really sweep it back at home. And both of those games really were blowouts, which is hard to watch because past the fourth quarter of each game, you already really had a good feel for who should win the game at least. It wasn't close. But I personally just like the games at Boston just because I felt like the fans are way more into it. Like the energy level outside of the players felt like it was there. Even this last game, you could tell right from tip that the Celtics were about it. And the energy was there, the hustle was there, they're making all the plays. And the only, not to diss on the Mavs, but like Kyrie jumping into the stands was like the only like flash memory, like hustle play that really came in for the Mavericks that game. But they were down by 20. And obviously Luka's so banged up that he's not going to go diving for a ball when they still need him to score 20.
Yeah, for me, it was, and I love the NBA. I watched pretty much all of the finals games. For me, it was as watchable as Raptors Warriors in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
No, maybe 22. I whatever year it was. Raptors Warriors. It was on par with that finals to me. It was entertaining. Yes, I was very excited to get the matchup when the conference finals ended. But I was hoping to see Denver. I was hoping to see the two best teams in Denver, Boston. I think Dallas really avoided a bullet by having Memphis or Minnesota beat the Nuggets. But I didn't think you got the two best teams. Yeah, it's an interesting storyline with Luka making his first finals and Kyrie's return to Boston. But I think Boston was just such a more dominant team, and you could tell that before even getting into the finals. I mean, hell, Jake predicted it before one. But I think the interesting storyline to me at the end of this and throughout the entire finals is the fact that Boston won 80-plus games. They're the 10th team in NBA history to win 80-plus games. So I think that's a really interesting stat, and it really kind of puts this team, which, yes, has Tatum and Brown, but they're not two mega stars. They're not your Giannis. They're not your Embiid. They're not your Luka. They're not your Curry or LeBron. It really puts this into perspective. How good of an overall team was the Boston Celtics this year? And the fact that they won 80 plus games, the fact that they were so deep and they didn't have one superstar per se to lead this team. So I think that was the biggest, for me at least, the biggest moment and biggest thought of the finals.
And this seems like maybe one of the quietest 80-win seasons. I'm not saying that the Celtics aren't impressive, but again, when you think of draw, just, the attention that these types of teams typically get, and maybe it's because I'm not, again, East Coast Boston guy, totally could be, but didn't have the same feel, at least to me. Even with Luka, right? I mean, Luka, top whatever NBA player, obviously amazing. Am I still crazy for feeling like I'm getting some comparisons of like James Harden on the Rockets versus like Luka on the Mavs? I mean, it's not a perfect match there, but almost seems like it's somewhat comparable, right? Like if Luka's not getting it done, sure, you got some other guys out there, but it's just not happening. I don't know if you guys agree with that or not, but that's what I keep coming back to, and I can't seem to get away from that thought at all.
I think with Boston, and not to talk about Luka, but I think what makes this Boston team so special, and the fact that no one is talking about it, is one, they are like in the regular season they did put up historical offensive efficiency numbers. I mean, this historically speaking, statistically speaking, it was one of the best teams of all time. I mean, that's the basketball sicko. That's not what you're going to see on First Take. That's not what you're going to see on Get Up. But I think from a true basketball perspective, yes. The way they share the ball, the way they play on offense, the way they play so quick, the way they score so efficiently, yes, I think that's super, super impressive. But from a name standpoint and from what ESPN and like Fox and like all the other big networks want to see, no, it didn't have that star power. Yes, it had Luka, but there's only one. Like when you look at those Warriors Cavs series, you have LeBron, you got Curry, you have Draymond, you have Clay, you got Kyrie, you have a ton of different names. I don't think Luka and Kyrie in the later stage of his career, and then Jaylen Brown and Tatum moved the needle as much as those finals would.
Very true. Yeah, it's tough to watch. It's tough to watch Dallas sometimes because, right, it's like Luka, they'll run a double screen, try to get the switches, and he'll go to work. If that's not happening, you better have like a lively alley-oop, it seemed like, going back to last series, or Kyrie's got to make it happen on his own. And yeah, they just need more shot creators because Dante Exum, Energizer Bunny, but boy, oh boy, he's not going to be that guy that you need to be doing that. And be interested to see how the roster construction continues going into next year. We'll be doing more free agency breakdowns and draft breakdowns as we go forward here these next few weeks. So dig more into that to see what other missing pieces there. But any other final thoughts on the finals as a whole, or just the NBA guys?
Yeah, I think we had a little thing we wanted to talk about was, do you see this as a success for the NBA this whole season? I don't know if we touched base on that, did we?
If we're asking, was this a success for the NBA? I don't know. I feel like the final,
but the season in general.
The season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for me, I'm going to say it wasn't successful. And again, just kind of going to like the low draw, I think, for when we got down to the playoffs and finals. I had the same feeling as underwhelmed as I was during this past bowl season, where I just wasn't checking into a lot of these matchups. And again, maybe that's more of a personal thing than a reflection on the league, but interested to hear your guys' thoughts.
I'll take it away. One thing that I continuously said from the jump since we started this pod is the superstar problem. Obviously, going into it, I thought at least you have like the big name of Tatum versus Luka, right? And Kyrie's return, kind of how you touch base on. And if you look at the whole series, Drew Holiday was really like the X factor for the Celtics. It's not a household name comparably to like Devin Booker, Luka, Joker, stuff like that, which definitely doesn't bring as many eyes, but I don't think it was as successful as they'd want it to be. And it's kind of like a transition period into like the next phase of superstars, at least in my opinion. I think it's now emerging as the new superstars of the league who will be the face, like Anthony Edwards and maybe Jaylen Brown, max contract, like Coleman said. We'll see.
Now, would you say this finals is a microcosm of the entire NBA season in general? Do you think fans aren't as interested in the league as they once were because there's that superstar issue which you mentioned?
I think, it's part of that and part of passion. Like the blowouts by 40 for the finals or the last two games, both being a 20-point difference each way, that doesn't help viewership at all. Like if it's down to the wire, let's say last night Celtics win by 3 points, everybody's watching that game to the last shot. But it's just like, I don't know, there's not a drive. There has to be something aligned to where the players are playing harder. Because even in the finals, you could tell like once the Mavs kind of got down by like 14, 15, that's easily a huge gap, but you could tell like the foot kind of came off the gas. Like Luka was doing all he could. Everybody's looking at Luka like, can you get us out of this? And he obviously was getting doubled. But that's just my 2 cents.
I'm just still hung up on you saying Devin Booker and household names with some of these. I don't know. I just hate Booker so much. That's maybe we table that for another day. But if I was a Phoenix fan, I would be so upset that Booker's been like the guy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. My sentiment on the season and this finals, I feel like the NBA, much like the MLB, it's kind of shifted towards just being a postseason sport, and the fact that that's where you're going to get the most eyes, that's where people are going to have the most interest that are not like us, the junkies. And if the finals are like having the results that they are, then I wouldn't. I'd probably expect for viewership and people to just kind of like be like, the NBA is just not for me or something like that, and it'll be like, your football fan, but you're not beating the football fan, unfortunately. NFL's king, college football second to the king. It's the queen, I guess, if you will. But yeah, I mean, hopefully, I want it to be better. I want it to be better, but I don't think this season was as good as it could have been.
I disagree with all of you. I do think this season was very successful for the NBA. I think there's my thesis, I think there are 3 reasons as to why the NBA had a successful season and how this season set the NBA up for future success. One of them, which we spoke about last week, was kids, younger guys, younger adults, younger people, not watching sports as much. I think the NBA realized that years ago. It's made the NBA a clip sport. It's big on social media. It's big on Twitter. It's big on the NBA app when they just have, hey, watch the 8-minute recap or watch the 6-minute recap. I think that's where a lot of people, not even just younger people, like people our age, people older, who don't have time to sit down and watch 82 games a year, like Luke when he does with the Grizzlies. I think that's just what the league has become, and I think this year really proved that. Yes, the viewership for the finals might be a little lower. However, I just think that... What's so funny?
Nothing.
Luke's catching strays in the middle of your rant, dude.
No, he watches all 82. That's fantastic. He's in the minority.
Unless I'm in that stupid blackout zone.
Yeah, unless you're in the blackout zone. It's not a diss or anything like that. I respect how he watches all 82. But he's not like most of the country, and I think the NBA's realized that, and hey, we're going to make this a clip sport. Yes, the finals wasn't the highest rated finals of all time, but you know what? That leads me to my second point. The NBA just signed the second largest media contract in the history of the world. $7.6 billion per year. $76 billion over the next 11 years. That's only $3 billion lower than the NFL, which owns a day of the week, for Christ's sake. So I think the NBA's popularity, despite Clay Travis's rants on Twitter saying the NBA is at an all-time viewership low and nobody cares. I think, you know who I think cares? I think Disney cares. I think Amazon cares. I think Warner Brothers cares. I think whoever, NBC cares, who's a new partner this year, who's all part of that. I completely think the NBA is going in the right direction. And yes, you may not have your star power, but people are willing to pay. People are willing to see your product, whether it's in clips or whether it's on primetime TV every single night. And the final thing is, guys, are you forgetting the first fucking 6 months of the season? We had the in-season tournament. The Lakers hung a banner, for Christ's sake. Zion got fat. Were we just forgetting this? So yes, it is a postseason sport for most people. However, that draws viewership. I don't like First Take. I don't really watch First Take. But you know what I watch? I watch Stephen A. Smith's rants on Fat Zion. You can't miss TV right there. And also, yes, Bo is correct. This is a big transition period as you move away from LeBron and you move away from KD to who's your really next crop of superstars. Is it the Europeans? Can an American like Tatum shine out? But I think that's the beauty of the sport. I think you got a lot of young. This was the year of the young guards. You have guys like Shea. You have guys like, I wrote this down, Halliburton. You have guys like Tyrese Maxey, who are going to be the future of this league. And it's fantastic watching them night in, night out. And they're not even just so much the guards, but you have like Anthony Edwards shining out in the playoffs. And then you have Jalen Brunson on the Knicks, who's literally doing everything. Even without Julius Randle, the Knicks were must-see TV. So I think and hell, even Draymond punching 3 guys this year. The NBA is at an all-time high right now. Cannot be more popular on Twitter, cannot be more popular on the shows, and it owned the first couple weeks of December talking about the Lakers winning the in-season tournament in the middle of football. That's my rant. That's my 2 cents. Not to get all excited and put you guys down, but that's how I feel.
We just need the Grizzlies, man. We just need the Grizzlies to just
No, the
come
NBA
back.
doesn't need the Grizzlies. The NBA would actually rather not have the Grizzlies.
I know, which is why I'm here. I'm the lonely man. They got, you know how they got like, the certain sites that starts with an O and it, has an F or whatever. We got lonely fans right here. We're lonely.
I was gonna say, can we try to get Luke to be the next Spike Lee when Spike Lee retires? Because we need another guy courtside every time. And Memphis could be the city. That could be the city.
I'll do anything. Yeah, I'll sell my soul for that. Sure. Not that I have to. I've already done it.
Oh no, Luke. No.
Colin, that was a fantastic breakdown. I also think good call out on the in-season tournament because we went to that. It was Wemby. Wemby was playing.
Wemby. Oh my God, that was
right?
the number 1 bullet on my list. Were you guys not glued into Wemby's first 15 games? They aired Wemby's, I want to say, first 8 games on national TV to watch this 7'6" freak play basketball. How are you guys not locked in?
On a bad basketball team.
On a bad basketball team. I mean, we're watching. What's his face? We're watching. Flip this because I don't remember what the guy's name was. He went to Baylor with the funky hair.
Oh no, you're talking about. Hold on, you're talking about one of the best point guards in the NBA, Jeremy Sochan. That's why I was tuning in. I wasn't watching Wemby.
Playing point guard for probably the next generational talent in the NBA. That's must-see TV every single night.
Yeah, Wemby. I mean, that'll provide us with enough excitement. I can't wait to see what he develops into. You did mention Clay Travis before there, Coleman, and so this was an interesting thought experiment. I'd say in the sports commentator world, Clay Travis ultimately would be what I would call my spirit animal, right? If I could pick a career, sign me up. I'll take Clay's 10 out of 10 times. I know I'm putting you guys on the spot, but can you guys think of anybody that might be your media spirit animal? Similar to how what'd you say?
McAfee for sure. I don't know. I just feel like his filter doesn't exist, and I think that's also one of the reasons why I like him so much. He's just kind of I think a lot of these guys are real buttoned up on TV, and I don't know. He's got a lot of personality. We'll say that.
I think also you would 110% do the WWE, and of course you'd wear the sleeveless shirts every day to show off those biceps. I mean, why wouldn't you, Luke, when you got a physique like yours? Yeah.
It wasn't. The shirt's not very well for this one, but yeah, we're working on it. I'm curling those 150s like you were saying.
Put those illegal weapons away. Yeah.
We need to cut that out.
Be a lot of clipping
So-
on the podcast. Sorry, Jake.
A lot of clipping coming. I definitely pick Dave Portnoy. I love Dave. I think Celtics winning, him at halftime saying his halftime update, lighting a cigar, fantastic. Just stuff like that. I don't know. I love Dave. That's who my quote unquote media guy would be.
I picked Windhurst.
Oh,
A lot of layers.
Ohio guy.
Yeah. How do you not like him?
so
How do you not like Windhurst?
Coleman, who
Thoughtful, knowledgeable, student of the game.
as the next Brian Windhurst, who are you following from the age of like 16 until they're the greatest NBA player? Is Wemby going to be your guy that you just hop in and like all in on Wemby, or who's the
Windhurst
guy?
already hopped in.
Is somebody out of high
Spent,
school you know
I
that
think
we
he
don't?
spent a couple months with him in France before the draft last summer. I'd have to find a new one. I'd have to find a new prospect who no one really knows about. Wemby's taken, Bron's taken. I'd have to find someone new.
Bryce James, another James.
Bryce James, yeah.
Coleman, just start scouting local like third grade AAU tournaments. Just show up with a clipboard and just start checking some names. Go to those showcase tournaments.
Yeah, I think you got to start in middle school though. I think do they do showcase tournaments that early in elementary school?
This is not good, Coleman. This
This is
not
podcasting at its finest, folks.
Coleman. That is the train leaving the station, and you are being left behind on this
Dude, it's
segment.
10 o'clock at night. My brain's not working. It's kind of fried.
Hey, I hope you know, I think there's a decent portion of whatever fan base we have that's waiting for you to have your windy moment of when he had that amazing segment. Was that last year where it went completely viral? So no pressure, but the world is watching.
None taken. And he's got a bobblehead at the AA Akron Rubber Ducks game in September.
Are you going?
I wish. Windhurst bobblehead night.
We'll have to write in and see if we can score you one. I did, as I texted you guys. Funny enough, random thought. I reached out to, I don't know if you guys follow Xavier Leggett, but that wide receiver for South Carolina, he's top entertainment when it comes to interviews, and he's got the best accent. I'll watch any clip of him. I did reach out to his team to see if we can get him on the podcast. So still waiting a response. I don't know if we'll get him on this year, but maybe next year there.
I don't know if you guys ever watched King of the Hill, like the cartoon, but he's like a real Boomhauer type character. You really can't understand what he's talking about. He's like, blah, 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 you know, and that's exactly who that reminds me of.
Yeah, he's awesome. But I don't know, any other NBA thoughts, or should we scooch over to the U.S. Open?
Slide over to the U.S. Open.
All right. So yeah, in other news, big U.S. Open this past weekend. Bryson coming through big. You guys watch? What are your thoughts?
I did not, but in the media side, I didn't get to watch it. I was busy, but on the media side, it seems like everybody's now a fan of Bryson, kind of coming full circle. They said he's like matured a lot, and there's been a ton of clips of him like staying out in the streets, signing a ton of autographs. The best one I've seen so far is him late at night, and they have like a little blow up golf ball, and he's like quoted saying, "All right, I'm a little drunk. I don't know how this is gonna go." Rockets it straight as a string in the middle of the night. Everybody starts celebrating. But on the other note, Rory is just going through it. Rory just got a divorce, loses that, told everybody he's taking time away from the sport until the Open in Scotland. Yeah. So hopefully he can get his life together. And yeah, just what a great showing for golf though. A lot of viewership, a lot of eyes on that one.
I watched. I was here for it. I think Bryson again got popular because of the YouTube golf. I think YouTube golf is such a popular thing and such a popular product amongst people our age that it's hard to be unlikable when you do YouTube golf and really take someone and take the viewership inside of, okay, what's it like to hit a certain shot? Or like when you do an interview with someone famous, or you do an interview about talking about yourself and why why you are the way you are, kind of thing. So I think that's going for him, and that's really changed his popularity. And for me, and I may be in the minority, I'm not a big Rory guy. I was kind of glad that he faltered at the end because I was rooting for Bryson. I was rooting for the outsider. I kind of like it when a guy on Live wins because it's something different. It gives more pedigree to that league, which doesn't really have a whole lot going for it right now. So I kind of like that.
Speaking of Live, does it help that since he won, does that now mean that I don't know the whole deal is all about the World Golf Championship points. Are they going to be willing more to, like, once these guys start winning from Live more of these majors? Do you think they'll start kind of tailoring the rules to get more of the Live guys back? Or
Brooks won last year. Nothing really happened. But Bryson, just alone off of his major finishes, I think he's top 10 in the world in the World Golf rankings, just off his 3 majors that he's played.
Yeah, that's incredible. Yeah, I think good win for him. Awful to see Rory down in the dumps, and I don't think he took any media questions or anything. He
got back with his wife though, so he's fine.
Yeah,
Didn't know that.
In the grand scheme of things, that's actually we had basically a golf pool, and one of the reasons I took Rory in that, I was like, he's back with his wife. Things might be a little bit more stable.
He's having regular
up here
sex
for him.
now.
He's had a tough one. He's won 4, but it's been a long time since he's had a win. I don't even remember. I don't know if you guys remember the last time, but it seems like that's just kind of been sticking with him now.
Probably
so close, but not so far.
Probably when he was the face of the video game.
Yeah.
Now he's not anymore.
Yep. I guess the only other exciting thing too was Scotty didn't get cuffed, didn't get arrested. He was not a rebel, so that was good. Disappointing to see Rahm didn't even get to compete with I think he's dealing with a foot infection or something like that. So hopefully he gets back out there. Yeah. But yeah, overall, good for Bryson. I think, like you guys said, just breaking him down compared to what he used to be. I think YouTube has definitely opened him up to a broader audience. I think it's incredibly smart. And I think he's just a bit more relatable now. You know, you look at him in the past and always very like scientific, like I'm going to look like a linebacker and hit it 1,000 miles an hour.
8 protein shakes a day.
Yeah.
When you say that, you're just unlikable.
Yeah, like I think he appeals to the like bro-y golf people. Like I loved it. I was like, oh, this is kind of different. It's not the typical golfer, and I like that there's different personalities that are shining in golf, in a sport in which, you know, it's pretty vanilla most of the time. We don't see a lot of individual personalities pop like that. But yeah, he just seems like he looks better overall. He doesn't look as big, and
looks
still
like
is always great throwing back.
Because there's protein intake.
Yeah, exactly. And are him and Brooks on good terms now, or is that still a thing?
No, I don't. I think they're fine.
Okay, because I thought I saw Brooks tweet at him, "Welcome to the club now" for like 2-time something. But yeah, I don't know. That was always entertaining looking.
They make so much money from the Saudis. Who cares? Honestly,
I know. Yeah, we need to talk to the sovereign wealth funds of Saudi and see if they'll give us some funding for the pod. I'll check in with them.
We don't need that much. We will take that much, but we won't need that much.
Yeah, we're still accepting sponsors, so we'll see. Yeah. Awesome. Well, with that, what do you guys want to end on? Anything specific?
Anybody have a question of the week? Did anybody have one prepared? Because I thought we were going to add one at the end of the pod.
Well, I had not a question, but really just a quick topic. We got hit quota here. Number 1 WNBA podcast.
You're right.
Talking about the WNBA. Angel Reese, brutal foul on Caitlin Clark. I want to get your guys' thoughts. Dirty play? Should she be suspended? Was it a basketball play? Or does Caitlin Clark have a special whistle?
I was actually that was I had the game on live. I actually had money on the game. We hit 2-leg parlay Elijah Boston and Angel Reese over on rebounds, my thought process was that I just think these girls aren't going to hit a lot of shots. So we prevailed. That's the scientific thought that went into that one. But yeah, I mean, Caitlin's getting beat up. We see that time and time again, and got clobbered by Reese. I think with that, was she trying to block the shot? I don't know, but did make significant contact with her head on the follow through. And just knowing the bad blood between those two, and Reese always complaining that she also, is part of the reason that people are actually watching women's basketball. I think that was probably pretty intentional. And
do you think it was a worse hit than Draymond on Yusuf Nurkic?
I feel like some of these ladies, if they keep doing these kinds of shots, there's going to be a lot of Draymond comparisons. I feel like I don't know if Angel's there yet, but Caitlin's just getting the piss beat out of her. I mean, it's tough to watch.
And she's being the better woman in this case, I guess. But one of these days, her fuse is gonna completely blow, and she's just gonna sock her right back. Because clearly her teammates aren't gonna rush to her, so she's got to be like this kind of one-man show, if you will, which it is on the court already. So let's just take it up. Let's turn it up a notch, baby.
Mm-hmm.
As I said before, she's getting the MJ treatment. She's the face of the league, and people hate it. So it sucks that they're gunning for her. I think over time it'll probably mellow out just because they'll realize she's going to be the face of the league. It's just growing pains, sadly.
The face of the league that's losing $40 million a year.
That's what happens when you sign them up for the UFC while they're going on a dribble drive. I mean, hey, it's tough playing basketball and fighting at the same time.
Or it could be the private jets.
Yeah. Are they ever going to be profitable? I mean, the money that they're sinking into that thing, I don't see a clear path there at all for them.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like all this talk is gonna die down once the big, once the NFL starts, and then after that it's over. Like it's just gonna be like, okay, I guess this is just normal now.
It is like I mentioned a few podcasts ago, though, when you're looking at how the media is covering it, it is kind of weird. They really do just kind of poke at the racial component, between like Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, right? They bring that in at any time to just divide and stir the pot more so that they can get more views. Yeah. It's the typical playbook. They do it in politics. They do it in entertainment, anywhere else. Like it's just what the media does these days, but kind of hate to see that. And I'm glad Caitlin really hasn't bought into that, all of her interviews have been fantastic. So hopefully she just doesn't get injured. I think that would be catastrophic though. Like if she actually takes a blow and, God forbid is out for the entire season, I think that would crush everything. I mean, you look at just how those stadiums are being sold out when she's there. They need to protect her a little bit. So yeah, even if they are a little quick to the whistle, I think they should keep doing that.
Well, that's the WNBA Minute.
Yeah. Number one WNBA podcast.
Number one. Every week.
We're gonna be mid NFL season. You'll still be getting updates on free agency and everything that's going on. You just wait.
We're keeping it alive. We're gonna keep it alive.
I think they're getting a few more teams.
Yep.
We could probably low key, if we scrounge up some money, we could probably own a team. They're probably still affordable. I don't know how much of a good investment that will be. Probably a money pit, maybe. I don't know, but
it's like owning a boat.
Yeah, it might be the equivalent of I don't know, buying Boeing Airlines or something at the moment. That's just been catastrophic so far. I don't know what's happening, but it'd be tough. Yeah, I don't know. Could you turn a profit if you bought the Fever now? I'd wonder what their valuation is, and if you could. I just feel like as soon as
you turn a profit, the league's only getting more popular.
Right. I guess you really have to time that though, because if
go up. What was the last sports franchise that went down?
Right. Yeah, I think you just have to time it then. Like
even Donald Sterling's Clippers, for Christ's sake, went up in profit.
Right. Do you think?
And he was a racist.
Do you think Cuban is kicking himself for selling?
Probably
No.
not, because he's got $2.6 billion in cash in his bank account. I don't
Okay.
know. I mean, yes, it's probably worth more now, and long term it's whatever. But no, he's chilling.
Yeah, I don't think he gives a shit. He still has courtside tickets. I don't think he
We-
cares. He wants to bring gambling to Texas, and that's a whole different. I think that's going to be harder than winning NBA Finals.
Yeah, we're here for it. Great state of Texas has many things and many freedoms, but I'm on board getting that passed. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think we've really pooled our money yet for which NIL or collective in Florida, high school collective, we're going to be donating to, but we'll need to start coming up with that and get the pocketbooks opened up so we can start having some influence amongst the best recruits there. So if you guys have any ideas, we're open to feedback.
American Heritage Academy in Broward County, Florida. Their 4-star quarterback, the 2026 class, recently committed to Texas as of yesterday. Their 2 receivers are also 2 of the fastest. I want to say they're sophomores, maybe potentially freshmen, are some of the fastest track runners in the state of Florida right now. So it's a great program to buy into if we're actually looking.
I'm in. I
Broward
just
County, we're on the way.
Yeah, I just want to. I think the high school level is their best shot at us actually being at, like, I guess they don't have signing days because they're going to high school, but like we need to be brought in for the pressers, or like I definitely want to be the McDonald's money bag guy, even though it's not illegal anymore. Like I'd love to just get that job to just show up and be like, hey, here you go.
The Hamburglar.
Exactly. Well, another great one.
Thank you guys again for listening.
Yeah, thanks for
Appreciate
tuning in. Like and subscribe.
Check us out on all our socials. I think we got TikTok, Instagram, Twitter.
Mhm.
I'm forgetting one. I don't think so, but yeah, check us out there too.
Find it in the description, subscribe, share, and we'll be back next week, potentially with a guest. We'll keep you posted. But yeah, thank you all for tuning in, and we'll see you soon.